Welcome back. It's getting harder and harder for young people to break into the housing market. In 1991, the median age of a first-time homebuyer was 28. Now it's 40. Some people are delaying having a family because they can't start a starter home. But in Connecticut, the democratically dominated state legislature passed a bill that will make buying a suburban home even more costly. The bill forces every town in the state, including leafy suburbs and rural towns, to allow developers to build apartment buildings, contrary to local zoning rules. Dems say it's to alleviate the housing shortage and allow people of lower incomes or people with no incomes to move into town. But these towns will have to hike property taxes to pay for things they currently don't have, like sewers, public water instead of wells, and more schools to accommodate the renters' children. Not to mention, apartment buildings will change the appearance of the towns that are long renowned for their charm and New England feel. So joining me to discuss this war on Connecticut towns is Benjamin Proto, chairman of the Connecticut Republican Party. Good morning, Ben.
Good morning, Betsy. How you doing?
Well, good. I wrote you a little poem for this Sunday morning. Here it is. Homeowners vote red, renters vote blue. How did this extreme law ever get through? To you, Ben.
How did it get through? From a far left progressive legislature and a governor who's moved further and further to the left. You know, look, Betsy, you know as well as I do, Connecticut prides itself on its home rule provisions, and they're in our Constitution, that each of our towns, remember, we don't have regional county government. We have 169 separate towns in this state, all of whom manage and govern themselves. And the state of Connecticut has now imposed upon those towns massive changes as to how those towns will develop. And right now, most of Connecticut towns, if not all of Connecticut towns, the vast majority of property taxes are paid by residential homeowners. And the more you take commercial property off, and as you know, under this bill, it allows for the redevelopment of commercial property into housing, the more you're going to put that on local property tax payers, residential payers. And we already have among the highest local property taxes in the country. This
That's
is an
right.
absolute of what the legislature has done to local home rule and the towns and cities in the state of Connecticut.
Connecticut residents are really suffering under these extremely high property taxes. I'm also going to bring in Alexis Harrison. She is co-founder of CT169, a group that is fighting to protect local zoning control and allow towns to determine the appearance and rules in their town. Alexis, your group has fought this law. Tell us what will happen to property taxes in the state and the owners of single-family homes once this is put into place.
Yeah, good morning, Betsy. This bill takes away local communities' land use decision-making, as the chairman said. This bill is actually a massive unfunded mandate. The housing growth program provision in the bill passes down housing quotas to each of our towns. We don't know any of those numbers yet, so towns really, it'll be very hard to prepare right now. But that will end up being a town burden. This will cause property taxes to go up. You'll need more school facilities. Some of our towns in Connecticut are quite small, and they don't even have full-time planning staff. So think about your town hall staff will have to go up. And, Connecticut is already one of the most expensive states in the U.S. We have a high electric rate, high taxes. And I don't think this will make things more affordable here. It'll certainly put more stresses on small landlords who will be at a disadvantage. We're already trying to tackle these, very high
Alexis, here's something I found in this bill that is so staggering. The bill, and this is the first state in the nation to do this, outlaws what they call hostile architecture. They're forcing towns to welcome people sleeping homeless in the parks. The bill outlaws park benches that have a divider or armrest because then vagrants can't sleep overnight in the town parks. And I'm asking both of you, what's going to happen when, I send my grandkids down with a little pocket money into town and say, you can walk around town, right? But what's going to happen when there are vagrants, homeless people, camping out permanently in these towns, bringing drugs and violence and crime to these little towns. Ben?
Yeah, it's not going to help homeless people. We want to help. We want, diversity of housing, no question. But allowing people to sleep in parks, that's not going to work. It's going to, like you said, and a lot of people who are homeless, they have mental health issues. They deal with substance abuse issues, and I don't know how, allowing them to live in parks essentially where children are playing, where people like to enjoy. It's just really not going to work.
Ben, 30 seconds to you, and then unfortunately we have to go.
Alexis is absolutely right. Look, we all care about trying to solve the homeless problem in this state and around the country, and this is not the way to do it. And as a result, you're going to see more and more issues arising in our towns. You're going to see more and more problems in our towns. Just on a quick note, to go back to the property tax issue, Martin Looney, who's the Senate president, who's been in the legislature since 1980, was elected in 1980 for the first time. In addition to all this, continues to propose a statewide property tax on top of local property taxes to try to bring in more money to the state of Connecticut. It's just an abomination as to what the Democrats have done. They've destroyed our local communities. They're destroying our towns. They're destroying our local elected officials' abilities to really design and manage the towns that they were elected to manage and run.
Time for a change, right? Political change.
Absolutely.
Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you, Betsy.
Stick around. We have much more on Wake Up America Weekend when we return.